Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor and it's Friday, and Friday is a good day to remind you from one of my sponsors that contemporary art historically returns 23.2% each year on average when inflation's at least 3% like it is now. Everybody's looking for flights to something that doesn't tank with everything else in these crazy times. I dropped my bullet. I was the other day on my channel, I was telling you about a 6.5 Creedmoor is one of my son's hunting rifles, and I had the bullet on my desk, and so every once in a while I just pick it up and play with it. But anyway, so Masterworks.io is one of my sponsors. Links in the top of the description. Click on them. Tell them DAI sent you. These guys have set it up where average people like you and me can invest in art. They go and they might buy a $30 million piece of artwork and turn it into $20 shares with a minimum investment of like $500. I've been doing it myself. Go check it out. All right. No, I'm showing you this, but I've made kind of every once in a while some of these chart terms. I've made no bones about the fact that I don't know anything about charting, don't want to know anything about charting. But some of the terms, sometimes I see them and I don't know if these chart guys are making them up or if this is something that everybody knows and I'm just not in on it. But I thought these were good. These are some, and I've been doing this channel for 4 years and I'm still seeing charting terms that I never have seen before. This one right here. XRP, Gaussian channel. I mean, it sounds exciting to me, whatever that is. GC is extremely illustrative if used properly. XRP is still on the best buying zone in respect to historical data. Only 4 times in the last 10 years, XRP was below the red channel. I haven't heard that term either. The red channel, that sounds ominous, which indicated an excellent buying opportunity. Buy the red. I like it, like the sound of it. They didn't give us a number, but then Charles Gasparino, Scoop, people closest to Elon Musk say he has a grand vision for Twitter, toying with the idea of turning it into a U.S. version of WeChat. That's the same, is that the app that the SEC officials use? I can't remember if that's the one. No, it was the WhatsApp. As a person close to him put it, lots of financial transaction features. He plans to take it public when markets improve, and he's going to talk about it on Liz Clayman. Now, I saw this tweet today right here. Monetary in-game stuff. What the F is going on in Japan? CPI comes in hottest since 1989. The Bank of Japan unveils more QE to prevent JGB market from breaking, sending yen tumbling days after BOJ spent $50 billion to prop yen up. PM announces $200 billion stimulus package. And I saw this, and my only commentary was this. At some point, you have to start asking whether these governments around the world, including the United States, are intentionally accelerating this financial madness to roll us into a new system. There's no way they don't know where all this debt will lead. There's no way they don't. These people are not stupid, folks. Once you accept that they're not stupid, it has to be intentional. I believe it's completely intentional. I also believe this. This guy, Mr. Whale, says, I believe Ripple is bigger than PayPal within 10 years. So I decided to go look how big PayPal is. $101.01 billion market cap as of October 2022. So I said, I believe they're bigger than PayPal after the XRP, after the SEC lawsuit. Then Squawk Box, because they have to tee Gary Gensler up after the media is bashing him yesterday. So they had him on to try to repair his image some more.
Gary, before I let you go, you read William Cohan in Puck?
Oh, occasionally.
You know, He has a fascinating piece. It's a very speculative piece. You might have read it.
I don't know. I don't read them on a regular basis, but I do.
Well, he had a piece about
occasionally.
who might take over from Janet Yellen, who might want that job in the future if for some reason she would step down. Who might be waiting in the wings?
Andrew, I've got the job of a lifetime. I can't believe that I've got this privilege to cheer.
Oh, just more BS. These people are in the business of making monuments to themselves after they fail. And so it wouldn't surprise me a bit if he goes and gets the Treasury Secretary job, because that's what government does, is rewards failure. Now, what's interesting is on Squawk Box's news feed, they have not hardly addressed at all in their news. They did several clips, and there were clips where he was asked about what was said in the media yesterday. But they don't post those. They don't feature those in their Twitter feed. This is the only clip that was in their Twitter feed that talked about what was being said yesterday by the Inspector General at the SEC.
Investors get to decide with regard to that investment decision.
Separately, I have a question for you about the SEC directly. There was an Inspector General's report recently that disclosed, or at least revealed, that there have been a lot more departing senior staffers than what I think would be expected or considered normal historically. What's happening?
No, I don't. Let me just say this, if I can. Our turnover, and it's a really talented staff, but our turnover also reflects that it's a very talented staff. You talk about this on other parts of your show about tight labor markets, but there's also tight legal labor markets for the talent of the SEC. Our turnover did go up to approximately 6%, which is the norm for the U.S. government, across the U.S. government.
More BS. Now, the real clip was posted by @TimR614. This was covered in the CNBC interview, but they chose not to put this clip, which would be the worst clip, onto their platform. So we'll show it here.
The Wall Street Journal had an op-ed, or actually an opinion piece.
And I can't do anything about, well, actually, let me see if I can turn up the volume a little bit so you can hear it a little better, because this is the volume on Tim's thing.
Suggesting that the fast rulemaking pace that you've been putting forth is potentially damaging. I guess there was an SEC Office of Inspector General this month that had a review of the leadership that was pretty difficult and pretty tough. Move fast and break things agenda is overwhelming staff and taking resources from investor protection. What do you say to those charges?
Look, we've got 4,600 people at the agency. They're talented, they're dedicated. Our rulemaking agenda is approximately the same size as Jay Clayton's. He finalized about 65 rules. We have about 50 or 55 on our agenda. And I think that it's really important that we at the SEC be a cop on the beat, have a robust oversight that you mentioned, robust examination, enforcement. That's over half our staff, by the way. But also move forward to try to find places where we can make our capital markets work better for regular folks watching this show.
They go on to say, though, that what happened under Jay Clayton is most of those rules were focused on investor protection, that most of yours are focused on other regulatory things that can't make their way through Congress. And they say, at least the Wall Street Journal, investor protection.
I beg to sort of focus. We have a three-part mission. It's about investor protection, it's about capital formation, it's about the markets, the efficient, orderly, and fair markets in the middle. And that's what we're doing, whether it's around equity market structure, whether it's about treasury market structure, whether it's about private funds across the market. This rule that Andrew talked about, clawbacks, eight of our parts of our regulatory.
Okay, anyway, more BS. Okay, moving along. Now you got to see this. Let me turn that volume back down just a tad. This is a clip from XRP Darren, and some of what I'm about to show you would go in the All the World's a Stage file. Watch this clip right here. Well,
executive order directing all the regulators to submit their own white papers on what they think about digital assets. So he didn't name one area at all in terms of being in charge of this at all. In fact, I think it's actually the NSC and the NEC, the National Security Council and the National Economic Council, who are kind of jointly taking the lead on this. But he didn't name the SEC as the lead. He certainly didn't name the CFTC. They're all submitting their research. And I'm hoping that once it is if it is the NEC and the NSC who's leading these efforts, that as these working groups really formulate, hopefully, what could be good, hearty, constructive recommendations, those guardrails that I'm talking about, and then again, that would hopefully mean that maybe the Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, will take the lead in thinking how that kind of makes its way through. I don't think it's going to happen in a vacuum. I honestly believe that they are going to rely on Congress to take the lead in forming legislation. It's already happening, right? You're seeing it. Although, is it happening in an informed way? Is Congress making these proposals with the information that they need from the executive branch to move forward? And I think it takes so long to do legislation. So perhaps that is kind of a window of opportunity where some of these proposals, both from the executive level and from the legislative level, can come together. So I do think by the end of the year is the timing for when these white papers are supposed to be submitted, unless that's going to change. And then I do think that Congress, along with the president and his team, will work through 2023, kind of figuring out perhaps what those legislative proposals should look like.
Now, the way I understood what she just said is that effectively they're taking the SEC out of the loop on all of this. And it's now the NEC, which is the National Economic Council, and the NSC, which is the National Security Council, in conjunction with maybe Congress, okay? And like they're waiting on Congress to come up with things. Well, let me show you something. The NEC is run by this guy, Brian Deese, global head of sustainable investing at BlackRock. How many times have we heard, like I told you, this goes into the All the World's a Stage file B. We might be working on file C soon. Global head of sustainable investing at BlackRock. How many times have we heard the word sustainable come out of Ripple? And then you might remember that guy's the global head of sustainable investing at BlackRock. You probably remember Craig Phillips, who's a board member at Ripple. He also was a BlackRock guy. You also remember this is All the World's a Stage file. Gary Gensler was on you-know-who's finance committee. And guess who else was right here? As a member of Hillary, I don't say her name on this channel. I'm sorry, I accidentally almost slipped up, but I didn't all the way. So don't be mad at me, you-know-who. As a member of that person's National Finance Committee, a distinction reserved for those who raised $100,000 for Anyway, a you-know-who super fan ended up inside Trump's treasury. So this would go in the All the World's a Stage file, and so would this from Stefan Huber. You cannot make this S up. Elon Musk to acquire Twitter. This is the Bill Hinman page on Simpson Thacher's website. Simpson Thacher's representing the board of directors of Twitter. And he's right. You cannot make this up. Bitcoin just recorded its largest net outflow from exchanges in 6 months. Over 70,000 Bitcoin worth $1.52 billion left exchanges on October 26th. What in the world could that mean? And then Russia is calling for a new independent financial platform, like a DEX maybe, for international settlements. Do you still not think gold is going to play a vital role in the global financial system in the years ahead? I do. And then James Phelan, Judge Torres has granted the request by Investor Choice Advocates Network and Spin the Bits for leave to file amicus curiae briefs in the support of Ripple. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that Judge Torres granted another